project managers needs to understand that they have this trust coin. And from time to time, they have to use this coin with the team and say, I know what you're telling me, but we need to go to this direction and you need to follow me. Trust me, here is my coin, and then I give that to the team. That moment was chaos. And chaos, there is no way that you predict, rationally think, strategically think. It's just sense and react, sense and react, sense and react. And we had to keep doing that. But it's not saying don't do documentation. Project managers needs to understand that they have this trust coin. And from time to time, they have to use this coin with the team and say, I know what you're telling me, but we need to go to this direction and you need to follow me. Trust me, here is my coin, and then I give that to the team. That moment was chaos. And chaos, there is no way that you predict, rationally think, strategically think. It's just sense and react, sense and react, sense and react. And we had to keep doing that. But it's not saying don't do documentation. It's say communication over documentation. All the time I was asking him like, oh, you have to speak during the calls because you have these excellent ideas that you share just with me. You need to show the client how amazing you are. You need to show people how amazing you are. Of course I can do that, but I don't like to do that because it will sound like I'm the one that is shining and I should not be shining. You should be shining. And then he said, did you ever thought that I don't want to shine? Everybody's important. Everybody has their value. They don't need to change to fit in a perfect example of person, right? We as a team need to be perfect, not we as individual.
Today on our show, we have a special guest, one of our project managers, Flavia. Welcome to Troublebusters.
Hi.
We'll be talking about the traditional project management styles versus some more modern ones like Scrum, using tools versus methods. So having a toolbox as opposed to a checklist. Welcome, Flavia, and let's pick your brain a bit.
Perfect. Okay, so Flavia, can you tell us maybe who you are, how you got here, what's your role in Synergo?
So I'm here in Synergo for, I think I'm accomplishing 2 years today or this month. Something like
exciting.
Oh, congrats.
Congrats.
This month is the month that I accomplished 2 years here. I joined it here as a project manager, but as a majority of the work that we do is with startups, project and product, they are mixed together. So I'm project/product manager for the clients that we help to implement new solutions. And this is what I do here. Before here, my experience is more than 15 years as project manager. And an interesting fact of me, I'm not from the IT. I'm a biologist. I have master and PhD in genetics and evolution.
Oh, that's cool.
So I love statistics. I love numbers. I had a lot of statistics during my graduation. So yeah, my brain is very logical. And I worked on the biotech consulting side in the beginning of my career. And then I was invited to move to an IT consulting company because of this mindset that I have of Agile, putting people first. And this company that was opening an office at my city invited me to go there. And it was a very good experience to change it. And then I moved for consulting on IT. Then I started to work as a product and project manager for companies outside Brazil, because I'm based in Brazil. I forgot to mention that. Yes, and I'm based in
Beautiful Brazil.
Sun and good food and happy people. Yes, that's Brazil.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Okay. So diving right into project managing, what is it like being in charge of people and products?
It's really interesting because when I moved from biotech to IT, I was not sure if I would be able to do that because they are different subjects. But then I realized that in the end, we are talking about very clever, intelligent people that know what they have to do. And the work of a project manager, and I will talk first about project manager, is more to help the team to get unblocked because they know what they have to do. They are all adults. They are very intelligent. They are excellent on their activities, and I just need to help them when they need help. And this is a tricky part as well. As soon as I joined it, the good feedbacks that I received from the team was like, you were great. And I said, I'm doing nothing. And they said, but you are not making a mess with us. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes project managers try to help and get deep on the weeds and try, like, I believe with good intent, but in reality, they just mess with the team. So this is the part of the project manager that is understand, listen, talk, trust, set expectation, really listen what the team is saying, communicate with the client based on what the team provided to you, communicate with the team based on what the client provided to you. So this is the part of the project management. And the product manager is very close to that, but this is, besides listening the team about what is the easiest way to solve issues, and this is the phrase that I love, that is, love the problem and not the solution. So I love to talk about the problem with the client, understand the real problem, the root cause of things. And based on that, return to the team, check what is easiest, because we are talking about the time of the team, investment from the client. So we are not going to create like a super wheel that turns all around if like a small thing could solve the problem in the same way. This is not fair with the client investment. Yeah. So, and then do benchmark, see what the like competitors are doing. So this is my daily activities as a project and product manager.
Nice. Okay. Would you like to tell us maybe about some time when you really had to step in because something was going off track or over time or something, and how you brought it back?
This is something that always that I'm coaching new project managers, I always use this analogy of the trust coin. Project managers needs to understand that they have this trust coin. And from time to time, they have to use this coin with the team and say, I know what you're telling me, but we need to go to this direction and you need to follow me. Trust me, here is my coin, and then I give you that to the team. Because you cannot do that all the time. Otherwise, you remove the autonomy and experience from the team, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we need to do that. This is the trust coin that we give to the team. And once things get back on track and we start to receive good feedback from the client, I always like to mention about the result of the team trusting in me and following what I said, because then I have my coin back. And I can use that in the future.
It worked, I swear.
Yes. So there are several situations that things got out of track. And I will mention the recent one that was August, that we had. We are working with a code that is very... So we received it as herança, the code from... And the code arrived without a lot of documentation. We are already working with this code for a year. And August was the big release for the client, right? Like one day that they open everything to all the clients that they have. And it was our first year managing that without the previous developer that was from the client that has all the knowledge, that he built the code, he knows how the system works. And I was naive because everybody from the client said, yes, in 1 week, we open it for people to test internally. And then everything work, and then in the next week we are fine. And I wasn't naive trusting on that. I didn't listen my gut feeling of things will not go in this direction, and I let just for the last week to do that. And when we opened the registration, of course, nothing was working. And the team had to, like, that's the thing that I hate, because I know that everybody has personal life, and I hate to ask people to work over extra hours. But if we didn't had that, we would not be able to open all the service on the next week. And just to provide you an idea, the transactions that happen in just 1 day is $1.6 million US. So it's a lot of money.
Wow.
We don't get things right. So I said, trust coin team. We need to do that. We need to make this work.
Fix it.
There's no way that we postpone this day. There is no way. Like, we need to make this work. Give the maximum that you have. And this is the thing. One, trust. Second, increase communication a lot.
Yeah.
I usually like to leave the team more by themselves and asking from like once a day or one another day, like how things are going. Do you need anything? Things are going fine. But at that moment, we had to have like a very strong communication very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
That was the days before the registrations are opening. And then at the day, we were working, like the registrations will open midday Brazil time, noon Brazil time.
Mm-hmm.
That means 8 a.m. for the client time zone. And at that time, we opened a Google Meet channel and we said, everybody stay together because the storm is coming. Like, the storm is coming, both sides, we are going to survive. And of course, I wish I could say that we fixed all the problems before, but that's not true. People start to do the process, the flow at the client websites, things start to explode everywhere. And I had 3 developers with me and like just saying, you look here, there, look there, like pointing everybody in all directions because there is a tool named Kneffing. I don't know if Kneffing, I don't know how to say that in English. Cinfein. But yes, there is this tool that it says how you manage each situation. Like you have a simple situation, how you manage a simple situation, a complicated, a complex, and a chaotic situation. That moment was chaos. And chaos, there is no way that you predict, rationally think, strategically think. It's just sense and react, sense and react, sense and react. And we had to keep doing that. And in the end of the day, the CFO was really happy because everybody was almost dying in the end of the day, but they make the transactions of 1.6 million US dollars that the CFO was expecting. Of course, that still today we have some small things to work. Like the team today is working, for example, we have 3 registrations from I don't know, hundreds of thousand registrations. 3 they were not able to complete. And the team is figuring out what is going on with these 3. But again, I love a lot of these phrases that they have. I learned this phrase as well. Sometimes we measure success with having no problems, but success can also means that your boat receive a lot of hits and you keep...
And you're still going. Yeah, definitely.
And that's what happened with the team. So that I consider a success. So the way that I managed was to use my trust coin with the team. And because of the good relationship that I have with the team, they trusted me in the same way that I trust them. Because if I didn't trust them before, then asking them to trust me, they will say, of course not, you never trusted us.
Yeah, you're crazy.
But I always trusted on them. And that time they trusted on me. They were together. And every time that I was pointing them to any direction, they were moving on all directions that I was pointing them. And we were able to finish the line. A lot of hits, people hurt, people crying. Some people were on the call just reminding us to eat. I had the developers, the infra and the QA all together. And the infra guy, there was a moment that he told me did you eat today? No, I didn't. Okay, so go eat.
Go get a banana.
Yes, even that emotional support is important as a team. We take care of each other. So yeah, that's I think what measure this success. We were able to arrive in the final line. We still went together. Nobody was upset with anyone else.
So on other projects, do you have any early signs of things are starting to go wrong or get stuck?
There are 2.
And how do you spot them?
There are 2 main things that I look, because the people that I worry most are 2, the client and my team, right? So I need, and the signs for each one that things are going wrong for each one of them is totally different. So for me, a sign that something is missing on the communication is when the client starts to micromanagement the teamwork. I know that several developers have hard time understanding that. It's this client is micromanaging, this person is micromanaging. And I always use that as a sign. Not that the person is bad or anything, this person is X, Y, and Z. This is not about the person, but about the context that we have. So what we can change in the context that make this person feel there is some anxiety on this person that we need to understand from where this is coming. Again, love the problem and not the solution. I can just say the client, like, stop micromanaging the team, right? But this is a solution, easy solution for a complex situation. That is always wrong. For complex situation, we need complex solutions. So I need to understand the root cause, like why the client is so on top of the team. What is missing on our side so the client will... Because we know, like, when we talk about managers and high levels in a company, they don't have time. Like, they have several things to do while they are here, right? So if they are
Stay
here,
in your lane.
something important is missing. Trust me, if they could, they will not be here. They will be doing, like, the management C-level things that they do, Like, they don't want to be there as well. So I try to understand what is missing. And okay, what you want from the team. Do you want a weekly report? Do you want metrics? Do you want to know the deliveries of the team of every week? How can I provide you the information that you want in a way that will be easier for you, because you don't need to stay together with the team all the time, and make the team have more autonomy to keep doing the things in the way that they know how to do. So micromanagement for me is a flag. Not a problem, but a flag of something missing on the client side. On the team side, because I really like to communicate with the team, and silence for me is a flag as well.
Okay.
And I'm not saying we cannot split people from personal and professional life, right? People say, like, don't bring home at like to work, like you have to have problems aside of work, but it is impossible, right? We have just one brain. Like,
Yeah.
I can't pass my office room and, like, leave all my thoughts outside. If I have a problem, I will have that problem, right?
Yeah.
So usually, since I know the team very well, and because I like to have a close relationship with them, because I don't know, I like people and I like to talk with people. So I know when communication behavior change. Sometimes we have people that are super quiet, and that's fine. Doesn't mean that the person needs to be talking all the time. There are people that are introvert, and they are very powerful to be an introvert person. They are more analytic, strategical. I don't want everybody starting to talk just because they need to talk, right? But once I know the how each person is, when I see a change on the pattern, I try to get closer to this person individually, of course, not in team meetings and this stuff, and try to understand what is going on. Sometimes it's a personal problem, and as friends, we need to worry with each other, right? We need to care about each other. So what is going on? Do you want to talk? There is anything that I can help you with that? Because I care about them in the same way that they
Nice.
care about me. So yeah, so I think the knowing the team and seeing change on communication behavior is something that is a flag for me. And again, as the same way that I do with the client, I try to find the root cause and see what is going on. If it's a work problem, I put all the responsibility on me to help. If it's a personal problem, I cannot cross any line that the person doesn't want to share. But I always put myself there to at least listen. Sometimes people just need someone to listen and, if possible, give advice. So
This show comes from Synergo Group. We help product teams ship with less stress. From idea to code to launch, we set clear goals, cut weights, and keep feedback tight. Web apps, mobile apps, and smart AI help included. Want to talk about a project or a fix for your team? Book a chat on our website at synergogroup.net.
We had discussed previously about Agile, and I kind of did some background research on it, but do you want to tell us a little bit about Agile and what that means?
Luckily, when I moved to IT, the company that I moved, one of the developers that created the Agile manifest worked on the same company. So
cool.
I started on IT on the, like, drinking Agile since the beginning. I never worked in a waterfall company, but I worked with waterfall clients being Agile, and that's interesting. About Agile, we have the Agile manifest that has, like, communicating instead of following plans. We have the phrases. And sometimes I think people don't really understand. They start to say like, it means that Agile will not have documentation, Agile will not have plans, because all these things on the left side of the manifest are the important ones. But it's not saying don't do documentation. It's a communication over documentation, right? So you can make a beautiful documentation and put that in a place that nobody will be reading or seeing, and why you're doing that. So communicate about it, right? Of course, do the documentation, but don't expect that everybody will go to your documentation and read about it. Communicate that it exists. The documentation exists. Communicate with people, even with the documentation. The phrase that I hate is when people say, I make a question for any person and say, it's written on the documentation. Come on. We are talking. Just answer my question, right?
Yeah.
So this is being agile, right? Amazing that you have a documentation, but let's talk about it. Explain to me how things are. So this is one thing that I think it's important for agile, to understand that communication, making change instead of following a determined plan, it's more important than making a plan and say, okay, we are going to follow this plan regardless of anything because this is the plan. And in the end, yes, you arrive at the goal of your plan, but the context changed so much that your plan doesn't solve any problem at this point. Yeah, so this is Agile. And on Agile, we have several tools that people use as checkbooks.
Oh boy.
Yes. So we can start with Scrum, for example. As I said, in this first company that I worked at, that did work to Agile all the time, people hated Scrum a lot. Because when you have a company, I understand now with more experience, being already for 10 years on this Agile world, I understand that Scrum is one step to become true Agile, right? It's very hard when you have a waterfall company that has all the process and steps and everything that you have and Gantt charts and PMBOK and blah, blah, blah and all this stuff. And then you put this person in a Kanban that is super free, trust, communication all the time. So we need to take care of this Agile transformation, right? So Scrum is the first step of becoming Agile, right? You have the process there as a waterfall. Now we are going to provide you an Agile that has a lot of checkbox for you. Look how amazing it is. So you're going to have the stand-ups every day, and you have the retros, and you have the showcases, and you have the sprint planning, and you have the weekly report, and you make all these checkboxes. And then the person that was at the waterfall process go inside Scrum and say, okay, I feel comfortable. I'm doing Agile because I'm doing Scrum and I'm comfortable here. One thing that we need to understand is that Agile is a little bit more than that. Because if you just follow the Scrum, you are still focusing on the right side of the Agile manifest. You are still focusing on plans and checkboxes. Scrum increase the communication, but still you have documentation for the communication. And when you stop there, people start to use Scrum as a checkbox that I don't like. That is, okay, I'm doing my sprint planning, I'm doing my daily, I'm doing the retros, I'm doing all the things, and I'm Agile. But what you're doing with your retros, when your team put there that they need to improve A, B, C, and D, what you do on the next retro, what you do between the retros to get this solved. Yeah, Agile is more about communication, adapting to change, understanding the problem, being able to change the plans when the context change. Yeah, so that's Agile for me.
Having worked in a place where they, where we did Scrum, religiously, it was effectively taking waterfall and making it mini waterfalls.
Exactly.
You go from one big waterfall to just a bunch of small waterfalls, but I don't know, the way, whereas I would say Agile is more like a river.
Yes.
Right? You follow a certain path, but with the mini waterfalls, you just don't really end up anywhere different, at least from the regular waterfall. You're just adding extra layers of stuff on top for really no reason other than the love of processes.
I loved your analogy of river because one thing that I learned about Agile is I always have water associated with Agile because the water adapts to the vessel that you put the water, right? What are
Yeah.
the form?
Yeah.
Water, like if you put the water in this cup here, this will have this form. But if you become ice, yes, you have a defined form. But if you are water, like fluid water, then this means Agile. You are going to adapt. You're not going to change yourself. You're still be water, but you're going to adapt to the context that you are.
Yeah.
And the river analogy is amazing because, like, the river will never stop regardless, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, if you have, I don't know, if a stone get in the middle of the river will start to make, like,
Yeah.
go
We'll just
around
go
on that
around.
then continue going to the ocean, right? So yeah, I like this analogy a lot, Valentin, of a river, because this means like Agile, because we are going to be changing and adapting for change that happen like a rock in the middle of the river, because we need to arrive in the ocean, right? So
And if by
Nice.
chance we get someone who isn't in the tech industry listening to this, like a good analogy is I just changed out our dishwasher. And if we were following just like a waterfall process, it would be the water really brings it into it really ties in here. But I was just following a waterfall process. I would take the dishwasher out. I'd have a full plan on how to put it in and just, force it in no matter what. But I took out the old one, and the previous owners who had installed it had left the copper piping for the dishwasher into the cabinet. So my new one wouldn't fit because the copper piping wasn't the right shape. So then I had to cut the copper piping further back into the cabinet and then attach a flexible hose. So I had to adapt to a problem that I couldn't figure out, or like I didn't even know existed until I started the project. Similarly, that happens in the tech industry. You come up with a plan to start it off, but then as you come across problems, you need to adapt to those as opposed to just shoving everything in and hoping it works.
yeah, and the other part of waterfall that it's important to mention for the ones that are not from the IT segment to understand is that each department focus on what they need to do instead of seeing everything, right? So when you are in a waterfall, you have like the water will fall here and then it will fall to the next one. And you are in a plateau where you receive the water from somewhere. You don't know from where this water is coming. You treat that water and then you your water for the next plateau. And this is waterfall, like you do your work and throw it for the next one. And then you do your work and throw to the next one. And the person that receives say, okay, people even make jokes like, okay, you send your work behind the door. You don't even open the door. You send behind the door for the next, not behind, is below. You send below the door for the next departments to pick your work and continue. You don't even say hi to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks for explaining it.
So in this example of Valentin, someone will do the door of the dishwasher and then say, okay, I did the door in the same way that is written here
Your
on my
turn.
plan. And then the person say, yes, but this door doesn't fit here. Did you look to the place that you're doing the door? It will never enter here. And the person, I don't care. You gave me this blueprint. I made with the blueprint. Don't get me on my face anymore. Get out of here. And I don't want to talk with you.
That was the measuring department's problem.
Department problem. You have to talk with them to provide me a better measure next time.
Okay, so now we can get into like, I don't know, more of the feelings side, I guess. So ego versus empathy and how you've seen egos hurt teams and how empathy can help get everything back on track.
I was thinking about that. One phrase that I heard when I started on the Agile IT part is that egos should be outside the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like egos will destroy everything.
Yep.
Everything. One important thing is everybody understands that every success, every work from the team comes from the team and not from individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time that the team makes a good release, that the client is happy when we have all these inputs, it's not the work from the developer that was working with this code, right? It's a teamwork. The developer was able to do that because other developers were taking care of support, for example, because we had QAs testing things. It's because we have the infra guy taking care of infra, because you had the PM or the PO talking with the client and managing expectations, so the team is free to work with. Every team that I'm in, I always make sure that people understand that every delivery is a team delivery, regardless of the person that puts the hands on. And every time that you deliver something, that thing becomes from the team. So there is not such a thing like, but this is my work. This is my code. Why you're giving my work, my code to this other developer to work?
Yeah.
Because this developer is free and you're doing other things and we need to move to this other, this question should not even exist, right? So ego is something, can destroy several things in life. We can talk about personal relationship as well, but let's keep on the professional side. Egos, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist to say anything, but sometimes I believe that when someone has this, I'll not say ego, but that has this this behavior of believing that they have more things, that they are super important and they are doing everything, blah, blah, blah. I usually try to talk with the person and try to understand which is the insecurity behind it, right? Because people see your work, people know that you're good, right? Why? And here is the part of the empathy, right? Try the way that you can decrease the ego level from someone inside your team is to have empathy by this person, with this person, empathy with or by empathy with this person.
Empathy for this person.
Empathy for this person. Because try to understand from where this person is coming, right? Again, we cannot cross any line because we are on the professional side, and I'm not a psychologist to make any deep analysis on how this person arrived there. But from where this ego is coming from, what this person feels when they say that phrases, what they are exactly trying to achieve, and how I can provide that to this person without the need of letting this person destroying other people from the team, right? Because this is the worst part of ego, destroying the team. So this needs to be taken care of very carefully since the beginning, since the first time. Sometimes people didn't receive enough acknowledgement during their professional life, right? So they need to keep talking about their things and putting their stamp saying this is mine and this is stuff. So how can I provide this person to understand that they are valuable, that we like them, the team, that we understand the work that they did, but also this person understand that every delivery is a teamwork. So empathy is very important to not allow ego to keep going, because you need to understand from where it's coming. But we need to be careful with, I shared this book already with some people, because we have the destructive empathy, right? When you understand, when you put yourself in the other's shoes so frequently that you understand everything and have an excuse for everything that this person is doing, right? You need to provide feedback when a behavior is impacting the team. I will share an example of a previous situation in another team where I had an excellent developer. She was she was starting on the IT segment. She was intern, but she was already 1 year inside the company, and she was amazing, an amazing person. Everything that you put on her hand, she will do with excellence and with time. And then suddenly she stopped to miss stand-ups and stop again, that flag, right? Communication, the behavior change. Something is happening. Then I called the person individually and said, what is going on? You are not like that. Something is happening. Tell me. The person was having a personal problem, insomnia, and was not able to sleep and losing the time for the meetings in the morning. Okay, how can I help you? How long it will take? There is anything that you see that I can do for you? That was the first step, right? When you put empathy and say, I understand everybody has problems, and we as a team, we are here to support you, right? And then after a few weeks, the behavior continue. I cannot allow the empathy to destroy, not even just the team, but all the reputation that this person has, because I know she's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I talked with her and I said, hey, I know what is going on, but or we or you need to find a solution because you're way better than this.
Yeah.
And this is becoming like consistent. And people will not remember how amazing you were like a month ago if you continue that way.
Yeah.
We cannot allow a lot of empathy can be destructive as well. So we need to be careful of.
That's true.
The name of the book is Radical Candor for the ones that want.
Yeah. Okay.
It's about how you can continue with your humanity, caring about people, but without losing the opportunity to improve yourself and improve others because you're not providing feedback for people to grow.
Good book. Put that on my TB.
How you make space so shy people voice speak up. Right?
Okay.
Because I learned a lot about this when I started on IT. It was not common on biotech, but on IT, a lot of introvert person, not a lot, but more frequently than in biotech, I started to see introvert person. And at that, it was interesting because I had an excellent QA. Amazing, but he was an introvert person. Shy is different from introvert, and I want to cover the introvert part. So he was amazing, and he was an introvert person. And all the time I was asking him like, oh, you have to speak during the calls because you have these excellent ideas that you share just with me. You need to show the client how amazing you are. You need to show people how amazing you are. Of course I can do that, but I don't like to do that because it will sound like I'm the one that is shining, and I should not be shining. You should be shining. And then he said, did you ever thought that I don't want to shine?
He's like, pass.
No, I don't want that. And then I learned a lot with this person. And this is the part of ego. Sometimes people think that since you are a manager, you are the topper you go in the company, you think you are better than anyone else. And it's just a role, right? I just have different responsibilities. But I'm learning all the time with my team. And I learned a lot with this guy. And he gave me a book that is, I know the name in Portuguese. I will make a literal translation. That is The Power of the Introverts. I don't know if this is the real name in English, but in Portuguese, that would be the literal translation. And I learned a lot about how managing introverts. Like not just managing, how to have in your team someone that is introvert and take the best of each one of them. That's what I said in the beginning about diversity. Everybody is important. Everybody has their value. They don't need to change to fit in a perfect example of person, right? We should never expect perfection from people. And we should not think that this person will be like, I will give feedback forever for this person until this person has this perfect skills and blah, blah, blah. We as a team need to be perfect, not we as individual, right? This is the power of the community. We together are better than we by ourselves. So each one by themselves. So introvert person in the team, they are really good because they are more analytic than others. Usually when they speak, they already arrive with an idea that was very well matured on their head. And they thought about several other scenarios before sharing this idea with you. While an extrovert person, maybe the person will be delivering more and showing more, but sometimes it's not always, but sometimes not with the same carefully as the introvert person will be doing. So so I think it's valuable to have introvert person inside your team, and is complementary with other skills and personalities that we can have. We don't need to change anybody. Everybody can stay in the way that they are, and we together make a good team.
Nice.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Troublebusters. Thank you, Flavia, for joining us. It's been a blast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Your insight was wonderful. I think we've all learned something about how we can honestly even just be a better person. So thank you so much.
Yes, I'm learning a lot all the time as well. So thank you for the experience to learn with you.
It's fun.
We'll get you the capes.
Yes, and I want capes because you said in the first one that you are going to have for everybody. I want that.
If anyone listening has a blocker at work, we'd love to talk it out. Send us your troubles at troublebusters@synergo.group, and make sure to include the problem, your team size, and your goal. Maybe you'll find your solution next time you tune in.
See you later.